Turnout is a really, really complicated part of ballet, and it takes a while to really build up upon. For today, I just want to give you the foundation of turnout. So there are two big forces to turning out. You have to pull up, and at the same time, you have to rotate. So let me just start with the pulling up part. So I want you all to stand in parallel. So right now, my knees are pretty relaxed. My quads are really relaxed. I'm not really pulling up. And when I say pull up, I mean I want you to use the muscles in your thighs to lift your legs up. And you should see your kneecaps even pulling upwards like this. One caveat to this is I don't want you to lock your knees. It's this, when you just push your knee back. You're not really straightening up, you're just pushing it back. And the way to not lock your knees but also pull up at the same time is pulling up but keeping the weight on the ball of your foot. Do not shift the weight back in the heel. Just stay straight and pull upwards, and just make sure that the weight is on the ball of your foot. You might even feel like you're leaning forwards because you actually have to lean a little bit forward to have the weight on the ball of your foot. Now let's move on to the actual rotation, which is the big visual of what turning out looks like. And let's start with what you just learned, which is the pull up, pulling up your thighs, pulling up your knees, having the weight on the ball of your feet. And now I want you to try to rotate your legs and just turn out using your thighs. And you might feel the back of your butt kind of squeezing together in this kind of emotion. And that's really what turnout is. Even though your knees are probably hitting each other and your heels are probably hitting each other, you can't push your heel any further. You can still continue to rotate with your thighs. Your feet are not going to move, but you're still turning out. So I want you to keep that in mind, is that when you are dancing ballet, you are constantly rotating your legs. Even though it doesn't look like you're turning out more, that's just what it feels like. Okay. So let's try this exercise again, but with a little bit more space between your legs. So I'm just going to take a little tiny step sideways. And let's start with pulling up our thighs and kneecaps, having our knees be really straight. And remember, keeping the abs pretty engaged. And you're pulling up. And now just slowly, slowly rotating your thighs. Rotate until you can no longer rotate. So even though right now my feet probably won't move much, I'm still actively rotating my legs. I'm not relaxed at all. And this is what it should feel like at all times when you're dancing ballet. All right, let's relax. So let's try this exercise again with a little bit more space in between the legs this time. We're again gonna start with pulling up our kneecaps, pulling up our thighs, engaging our abs, of course, and slowly, slowly, keeping your legs pulled up still, start to rotate and feel your outer glutes working and firing up. Just keep rotating, just incrementally, and you'll get to a point where you can't really push your heel forward anymore, but you're still rotating. You're still having this kind of circular force. And remember, even though your legs are probably opened now, you're still pulling your kneecaps upwards, and you still have the weight on the ball of the feet. Toes long. Don't crunch your toes against the ground like this. And it might be really hard in this position to straighten your knees. A lot of us are probably kind of with soft knees right now, but I want you to try your best to straighten up and pulling the kneecaps up. All right? Okay, let go. So don't be discouraged if your turnout doesn't look as flat as you want it to be right now. It will get better with time, but it is much better to start off with a really, really strong foundation, having little turnout at the beginning, and slowly working on that rotational strength.